Hello again, everybody. This is Steve Callis speaking of sports. I'm here with Anthony Sorbellini, and we're here to discuss the sad passing of legendary Iona Prep coach Fred Gallo. Unfortunately, he got the coronavirus at the age of 79 and passed away a few days ago. But this should be more of a celebration of his life, a legendary coach, a friend to all. Real hard-nosed but fair guy. But I'm going to turn it over to Anthony so he can give you some of his career stats and things of that nature, and then we'll talk a little more about him.
Well, yeah, Steve, I mean, you touched on it exactly. I can really only do him justice by the career stats. I didn't have the pleasure of getting to know him, was never a former player. I mean, I'm from upstate New York, so I'm only down here for grad school and all that, but I mean, just doing a little bit of research and seeing what he was able to accomplish is nothing short of remarkable, especially as a high school coach. But I mean, I'm just gonna go off and read right here. He was head coach for 30 years at Iona Prep, and then he's a CHSAA Hall of Famer. So obviously, the guy could coach, the guy knows what he's doing. But his record also, his record was 537 and 263. I mean. Wow. It's nothing short of impressive, to say the least. But he was able to lead Iona Prep to 2 state titles, one in 2003, and then he did what pretty much any sports guy wants to do, and he went on top. He won his last one in 2012 and then retired. But then it speaks to the magnitude of the players he was able to bring in and coach he was. He coached and mentored many college athletes, and then some were very fortunate enough and talented enough to make it to the next level and play in the major leagues.
Yeah, well, the coach was a pretty good athlete himself. He went to Archbishop Malloy High School. He played college baseball at Iona, actually played minor league ball in the Braves organization. But as you said, he did coach Iona Prep for 30 years. Interesting story about his 2012 championship. He actually announced that he was retiring at their sports award banquet, which that year took place 3 days before the championship game against Fordham Prep, which was at St. John's. And the players didn't know. Everybody was shocked, but I'm sure that gave them even more impetus, if you needed more, to really go out and beat Fordham Prep as they did to win that 2012 title. Also, as you said, in 2003, when he won his first title, he was inducted into the Catholic High School Hall of Fame, which is a very big deal. The CHSAA for baseball, for basketball, for track and field, it was and I think still is one of the top leagues in the whole country. This isn't where you go out and, you go to Oak Hill Academy with 12 guys. This is Catholic High School, New York City, or Westchester County. And he was a legendary coach. Again, I had the good fortune to know him for a very long time, and he told me he saw me play baseball and basketball in high school and college, which would make it even more than 30 years that he knew me. But he was a wonderful guy, and I just want to give you a couple of quotes that a couple of his players said this past week. As many people know, 2 of his most famous players are the Moran brothers. Colin Moran, who was the number 6 pick in the draft, who's now the starting third baseman for the Pirates, and his older brother Brian Moran, who pitched last year in the majors with the Marlins and now was playing with the Toronto Blue Jays. Those were 2 of his most famous guys. But I just want to give you the feeling that a couple of ball players had. And I'll just read a couple of very brief quotes. Brian Moran, the older brother, said, quote, "Coach Gallo will be greatly missed. He had a good heart and really cared about people, especially the guys he coached at Iona Prep." And Brian Moran, third baseman for the Pirates, had a longer quote, "He was at my wedding, my brother's wedding, was one of the first people I told when I got called up to the big leagues, came to my debut in Chicago on a day's notice, and called me right when my daughter was born. He was always calling to check in and tell me how proud he was of me. He was not only a coach, but another grandpa to me and a great friend. I miss him already and wish I could just get one more phone call from him." So he's one of those coaches that a lot of people know about, and some are fortunate to have. He was a guy, just because he was your coach and you graduated from Iona Prep, he followed you, he knew your family, he helped you with college. Both the Moran brothers went to the University of North Carolina. So he really was he really was a caring guy. But I will also say, and he'd be happy for me to say this, he was a tough guy. He was an old school guy. He was a hard-nosed coach. He didn't really take guff from anybody. He really was more of an old-timer in a modern-day world. But again, as you said, he went out as a winner. And the other thing I want to say about Coach Gallo, I owe him personally because he was actually the one less than a year ago. He introduced me to Janelle Albritton. And, you and I would not be here if not for Janelle Albritton, WestchesterCountyPost.com. So after he told her about me, we had a couple of conversations. And now, I do the sports, you do the sports, she does everything else. But I really do owe him and actually took him out for a thank you dinner at Yonkers Raceway, which he was very happy about. He's also a 30-year high school and college referee, during the non-baseball season. And again, big-time sports guy, really knew his stuff, smart guy, but an old school guy, and he will be greatly missed.
Yeah, I mean, I hear, I would just even some of the quotes that you just read right there. It's kind of what you look for, the epitome of a coach. And then I always feel like ball players, I mean, especially for me, I still remember conversations with like my little league coaches, some of my travel ball coaches, especially my college coaches, seeing how they influenced me to be the man that I am today. I could only imagine what it was like playing for him and then just learning not just the game of baseball from him, but just life in general, just hearing what he had to say.
Yep. Fred Gallo, a very influential coach, passes away at the age of 79. This is Steve Callis along with Anthony Sorbellini. Speaking of sports, we'll see you the next time.